Well, welcome back everybody. As you can see in front of me, I've done my strip. Now I think it's about 35 rows, and my idea, my plan, is to fold it about a third of the way up, and then to use that little bit at the top to fold over to form the flap. So just to put it next to the one that I showed you earlier, just to see the difference. So obviously you'd have to do a lot more rows to get that sort of size. So this is just a wee little demo one to show you. You could probably put a few coins in there, perhaps a lipstick or two. So anyway, right, so I have done my rows and I've finished off. I've woven in my ends. I have to confess I did that off camera. So now what we're going to do is we're going to add the contrast. So I'm going to do a row of contrast across this end, not the button end. So I'm going to get my hook and my yarn, and I'm going to poke my hook into that very end stitch, pull the yarn through and do single crochet. And I'm going to do a second one there because you'll see when we get to the end of the row and when we make it up, it makes a difference. So I'm just going to do a single row now of contrast across the top here, all the way along, dead simple. Something I didn't mention before maybe is it's really important to count your stitches. If you don't, you will end up with some wobbly lines, and when you come to do your contrast, it's really clear if you've missed stitches. So it's really important to count when you're doing this sort of thing. Okay, I'm going to just trim my ends off, yarn over and pull through. Now I'm going to cheat a little at this stage because normally I would darn the ends in. Now if you're darning the ends in with a contrast yarn, just remember you need to darn it into the same colour. If you darn it into your turquoise, there's a good chance you'll be able to see it. Okay, next stage. So now what we're going to do is we're going to fold the body up about 2/3, as I said, of the way up the rows, and just so you can fold your flap over. Now what you need to do, and I sometimes use my darning needles for this, you need to fix or pin the sides in place. Now you can use normal dressmaking pins, or perhaps you could use stitch markers. As long as it holds it in place, that's the important thing. So you're just going to hold that in place. So what we're going to do next is use a single crochet not only to act as a contrast but also to join these two edges here and here. So I'm going to get my yarn back, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to start in this corner where the fold is. Can you see there's a fold there? So I'm going to just poke the hook in there, right on the end there. It's a bit tricky because there's no obvious places to put it in, and I'm going to pull my yarn through. Well, I thought I was going to. Here we go. Attempt number 2. Pull the yarn through. Okay, done it. Okay. And now we're going to work our way back up here. Just make sure that's on top. Now you have to just pick your spots. So you're going to single crochet all the way back along the two edges. Now you have to be quite careful that you get both edges in, caught together, so your hook goes through not only your top layer but that bottom layer as well. Taking care to space it out reasonably well so you don't get too many big gaps. Okay, and we're coming up to the last one where we join the contrast we put on before. Now I'm just going to go into the end of that little contrast one and make that part of my next stitch, just so that it gets joined in. Okay, I'm going to take that out now because it's a bit lumpy. Alright, so now I'm going to continue in the same way up the side of the flap. I'm just going to tuck that end in out the way, but you will need to darn that in later, so just continuing up the edge. I'm doing it in a little bit of more of a hurry than I might otherwise, so that's my excuse in case I make a mistake, of course. And we're up to our corner now. So in order to get round the corner, I'm going to do 3 single crochet into the same stitch to turn the corner, and then we're on to our top row across here. So this might be a little bit easier because you'll be able to see where your stitches are. So I'm going across all the way. Hopefully you're doing your same number. I think it was 12, wasn't it? All the way across. Whoops. Make sure your tension's okay. And when we get to our last one, which I think is about there, you do 3 again. 1, 2 and 3. And then we turn our corner back down this side. Again, looking for the suitable holes in the right places. Not always easy, I have to say. If you want to be really pernickety about it, you can sort of just make sure you do it in the same place on every row, if it's easy to see. So we've come to the side where the contrast joins on the other side, so I'm going to put 1 stitch into the top of that contrast, and so it gets stitched in, crocheted in, and then we're back down the row again. So I'm going to take this out because it's getting in the way a little bit, so we're just going to continue down again, making sure you're going right through from front to back through both layers. That's why it's a little bit chunky and a bit stiff to do. So again, you're looking for suitable holes where you might push through. Don't be frightened to unravel or frog it if you find you've missed a bit or your gaps don't look quite as even as you'd like. Okay, so I've got to the end there, and I'm just going to cut the yarn over and through, and that's basically it really. I'm not going to darn the ends in because that's a bit boring, and I'm sure you know how to do that. But basically that's your finished purse. So all you need to do when you've darned your yellow ends in, or your contrast ends in, is then attach your button, and there you have your little purse. So I hope you've enjoyed that. Really easy project, I hope you'll agree, and I hope you have lots of enjoyment making lots more. So thanks for watching, until the next time.